congratulate you.
Oh, thank you.
You've done so well on Saturday.
Thank you. Yes. Alfred, you didn't say anything.
At least six times in a row. Six times in a row, that's great.
Thank you.
Also, this young chap, Blacko.
Yeah.
I mean, he's from the streets, and he's making the street very proud.
Yes.
And I'm excited about the Konongo connection and what he's doing.
He's joining us this morning.
That upliftment is great, at least for the country where we find ourselves. In times of economic crisis, without entertainment, you can be sure of a lot of mental breakdown.
Yeah.
So just let's
but you see, that said, this morning, I've heard my brother Alfred pontificate and raise issues about the conduct of NDC relative to this corruption expose, and makes the point that the NDC is just doing this for the benefit of just power. I want to put matters in proper perspective. Alfred, my very good friend, on the 20th day of October 2016, I want to read his Facebook post.
Okay.
And he can verify it. Alfred, this is
my Facebook.
Yes, this is it. You. So let me just, let me just for the record read. Okay. When you get the avenue to speak truths and tell the world how much corruption has engulfed the country, and especially the presidency, you come out with all honesty and sincerity. Ghana must work again. Our children must inherit something great. Don't just sit on the fence and watch. Join in the victory over corruption wagon. And let's all do it together. I have started last Friday on PM Express. Come and let's fight the corruption and incompetence cancer in the country. Now, it's good time to change. Then, on 17th May 2016, this is what he said. Yesterday, at the studios of Kasapa FM with Ameto Kwame of NDC, talked on corruption and gulf in this country and how Eja Mahama cannot expunge himself from it. When the fishing gets rotten, it starts from the head. If the head is corrupt, can he get away any corrupt official? Definitely no, my dear. Let's all arise for change. The time of change is now. No retreat, no surrender to change. Let's change to inspire. So, Alfred, whilst in opposition and you were doing this advocacy, I do not think you were just doing it for the sake of Akufo-Addo coming. You had clearly in your mind that you were fighting for this republic. So today, it lies foul in your mouth to question the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa in this advocacy. In fact, you are the last person to have this conversation.
Sir?
And I'm putting that to you.
Why do you say that?
You see, if you, in opposition, a few years ago, can talk about corruption and say corruption is a message, and say, you know what, wrongdoing is a message, and that it starts from the head. That's what he said in his post. Today, it has been established beyond reasonable doubt that Mr. Akufo-Addo, that you campaigned for in 2016, is not only a promoter of corruption, he defends corrupt illegal acts. He does not only show that he encourages the plunder of our resources, but he has demonstrated through his leadership that he surrounds himself with people who do not mean well for this country. The record today, which is available, is that the minister that he, Akufo-Addo, had put in charge of fighting, wrongdoing, destruction of our environment, had brought up a report. In fact, in one instance, Professor Frimpong Boateng narrates where, in a meeting, Akufo-Addo himself, the late Joe, he told Mr. Akufo-Addo that Akufo-Addo, at the time when you have placed a moratorium on mining in forest reserve, the same Sir John in 2018 had given about 47, forest entry permits to mining companies mostly owned by NPP officials. Alfred, what are you exactly talking about? So the record of Akufo-Addo relative to corruption and anything associated with it is F. In fact, if Akufo-Addo has a terminal report on fighting corruption, you give him F. He had failed. But that said, if you pick this Cathedral conversation, look, the details are terrible. Have you read the love letter from Pastor Doug Mills to the trustees of the Cathedral? Look, Doug Mills says that, look, effectively what Akufo-Addo has turned them, the trustees, into is what in Fanti you call Simpapenin. And that he, Akufo-Addo, at the presidency, deals with procurement matters involving the Cathedral without the trustees knowing. Doug Mills is a very respected man of God. He had done his part in this country. In fact, between Akufo-Addo and Doug Mills, Doug had credibility more than Mr. Akufo-Addo. On any day, I'll believe him. And from the time he sent that love letter to the members of the Cathedral, the trustees, they have not responded to the clear issues. How do you put together respected men of God and you will sit at the presidency and be dealing with the procurement issues? Look, the members of the National Cathedral trustees are not aware of how the services of Mr. David J. was procured. Today, as we speak, 339 million Ghana cedis of taxpayers' money had been given to the National Cathedral Secretariat, and the record is the world's most expensive home with nothing to show for. Alfred, would you, in good conscience, use 339 million Ghana cedis in digging a hole? Would you do that? Alfred, so the issues, as you pointed out in 2016, is about the next generation. It's about thinking about this country. We are in austerity. If you have 339 million Ghana cedis, how in God's name can Akufo-Addo describe the Cathedral as his priority of priorities? That is your scorecard. A very dubious distinction that you have gotten for wasting taxpayers' money. Look, as an MPP communicator, you should have the courage to say that on this particular issue, I won't speak to it. It does good for your reputation because I respect you a great deal. How are you going to defend a situation where Akufo-Addo sits at the Jubilee House and decides to procure the services of Mr. David Ajay, and out of 339 million Ghana cedis, 119 million of it had been given to only one individual? How do you do this? And if you ask them, how have we given over 190 million to Mr. David Ajay alone? They say he's doing consultancy. Do you know the shameful part? After all was done, they came back and said, look, they wanted to do a restaurant extension to the main. That alone, they charge us $6 million for that extension to the main project. Why are you doing this to this republic? Look, when this Reverend, what's the name? Kusi. Reverend Kusi has set up a company, of which he's the director, GNS Talent Center Limited. Do you know what they did? On 23rd August 2021, get this.
I thought that thing was in court.
Please, not the law, not the court issue. I know the court issue is about the identity matters, but this one, on 23rd August 2021, the government of Ghana, headed by Akufo-Addo, paid the company owned by this same man 3.5 million Ghana cedis. For what? Supply of hand sanitizers using COVID funds. Now get something. 4 days when they were paid by controller, 4 days, 27th August 2021, they quickly transferred 2.6 million to the National Cathedral Secretariat. Then this same money was reversed back. But when they went to Parliament, they presented a report to Parliament. They gave an indication to Parliament as though this was Cathedral money, when the record available shows otherwise. Why are we doing this to this republic? So, government of Ghana's own money paid to this company by way of COVID money. is what they were basically recycling around. Why are we doing this?
How do you expect the president to respond to this expose that, the Honorable has put out?
Hold on. The president had given us an indication on this cathedral. And all his responses had been one of lies. First of all, the president said, whilst in your bedroom, you had a vision to promise God that if he gives you power, you are going to build him a cathedral. And I've always maintained, if Akufo-Addo was using his salary, the untaxed salary, to build a beautiful cathedral in the mother's hometown, either Bomosu or Chebi, I won't have a problem with it. Because what he decided to do with his money, that's his own. In the beginning, Akufo-Addo represented to us that it was going to be private-led. In fact, I have listened to the respected Duncan Williams, a man I have great respect for, make the point that why are we complaining? It is not public funds. It's going to be individual contribution. Today, the evidence is that we have expended 399 million Ghana cedis on this project.
Well, he's asking for an independent probe into this matter as well.
It is way too late. It is way too late. If Akufo-Addo has any credibility left in him, he should lead this conversation. And look, today, I want to do this that I've never done. Apostle Opoku Nina, a man I have great respect for. In fact, he took over from my uncle, Apostle Ntumi, who was then the chair. I want to plead with him. We respect him a lot. The things that are coming out of this unmitigated disaster of a national cathedral, he should have the confidence to say, Mr. Akufo-Addo, I have built my reputation and credibility over 50 years of service to the house of God. I would not want to destroy that reputation. At this advanced age in my life, I am walking out. Just as the lives of Pastor Dagwood Mills and others with courage have done. That is what I expect him to do in the midst of this. Because you see, if a cathedral, which is supposed to be God's temple, right, is built in this manner, can you imagine how Akufo-Addo is building other things? Even the cathedral, the place to worship God. Look at the conduct. And you see, it's important to make this point. The Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, through his advocacy, had helped save this republic a lot of wastage. It was through the advocacy of Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa that it became clear that Akufo-Addo was wasting our taxpayers' money on expensive, luxurious jets. Fact. In fact, to the point that there were instances that he was doing $20,000 per hour. At the time, our presidential jet could fly him 6 hours from here to Entebbe Airport for the inauguration of President Yoweri Museveni. 6 hours. That's the same journey from here to London. Yeah. So those who were saying that the presidential jet at that time was not in good condition, that Akufo-Addo could not fly. He could do 6 hours from here to Uganda. It is the luxury.
Okay.
It is the luxury. So, look, how in God's name do we even pay $6 million as consultancy fee to carry Lisa?
But if you look at the Secretariat's response, they're saying that they paid less than $1 million, even though it's established that they went to Parliament with a different figure.
You see, the document they sent to Parliament, they recorded accurately.
6 million, yeah.
But you see, there is something about this Akufo-Addo administration, and let me say this. When they are reporting to Parliament, they report accurately. You know why?
Why?
No, because you see, if you lie to Parliament, that's in itself an offense, quote unquote, right? And so when they are reporting to Parliament and some of our multinationals or whatever, they provide accurate reportage. But when they are speaking to you and I, because they have no respect to the people who queued and voted for Akufo-Addo, they decide to lie to them.
Would that be the reason?
Because the document to Parliament suggests $6 million. Then you come and tell us, in any case, what is less than? You are speaking.
They should have been specific?
Yes. You are the one who did the payment. You see, it's not like Bella speaking this is a direct conversation from the, unless of course they are not the ones doing the payment. And that even raises further issue about how Akufo-Addo has misconducted himself.
Well, we cannot say that for a fact because they haven't spoken to it as to whether they made the payment directly or not. We'll have to
but if the
that.
payment was made by you, why are you using more or less?
But they are the same ones who came to Parliament to give that figure of
exactly. So why the contradiction, the inconsistency? But you see, what is not in doubt is that this National Cathedral is becoming an avenue for me to launder money.
That's what you think?
Yes. This $119 million to David Adjei, what is it for? Classic case of money laundering. And like I always say, so far as Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, or any of their hype men remain in power, the true state of affairs of the cathedral will never come out.
But I mean, we started seeing some expose.
Yes,
so if you
but
say
you see,
that
you see, because you see, even for money laundering, we do, and he's into finance. There's something we call tracing. The banks, where the money, the disbursement, you can trace it to the very last end of the conversation. If you have Akufo-Addo, or the person he wants to install, Dr. Bawumia, in, there is no way.
Who wants to install the president?
Yes.
He wants to install Dr. Bawumia. So it's not Dr. Bawumia wanting to be president.
No. Because the best way Akufo-Addo can protect his legacy of corruption is to have somebody who will replace.
But that's unfair. That's unfair to the doctor to say that. So the doctor is going to what? Cover up him?
He's not his own man.
That's an unfair statement to say.
It is a very fair. No, it's a very fair comment. And let me say why I made this
to that extent.
See, when MPP MPs even decided, for whatever is worth, that they wanted Ken Ofori-Atta out, you saw the way the president protected him.
He asked them to give them time.
Oh, wait time.
He said after the.
I can't have a saying.
After the IMF,
you see, when you are telling someone to stand up from his chair, and the person is refusing to get down, there's something the person is sitting on.
Let me bring Alfred in, because then the issue about, stopping the building of the cathedral, and of course, minority won't be the only one saying this. Yeah. Ghanaians in general, at least to a large extent, have said that put a hold to this, investigate the matter, let us find out what the real situation on the ground is. Why is government not listening?
It's been done. But let me come
How
back.
has it been done?
I'm coming. Let me come back. Let me start with the response from Okujeto. One, you realize that when you asked him, have you at least given it to the people to respond? He was jittery about it.
He says he's not obliged.
He went up on a whole trail before last minute. You pinned him again that, have you given it to them to respond? He said he wasn't obliged. But it's not in the, he says, standing orders. Meanwhile, the standing orders, you did not go on this trip on a parliamentary duty. It should be stated clearly. You went on your own investigation. As a Ghanaian, that you are going to do your own investigations. You finish the investigations. It is just sensical that you send it to the people you've gone to investigate and ask them questions before throwing everything out. But it's because, and you realized what Edwidge was doing here, that they just want to paint Nana Addo, they just want to paint Bawumia black.
But who wants to? Don't you think that?
NDC,
don't you think that the president as well has also played into this? Because why is he not speaking up about some of these matters?
The last question,
and acting on it.
That. You realize that I brought you back to 2008. I intentionally did that for Ghanaians to remember how the NDC operates, full of lies, full of trying to say we are the saints, we've done everything possible, and these people are not doing the right thing.
What's the lie about 6 million being given to Carrie Lee Summers when the National Secretariats themselves have admitted to this in Parliament? What's the lie here?
The lie about this whole thing is for you to go out and say that I have got all this information, but I never give it to the person to respond.
But there are documents attached to it. You think that the Honorable will put out some of these documents, even showcasing that the 3 people who were made governors of the incorporated, institution in the US, they also used the same. Hold on.
If you let me flow,
I'm sorry for interjecting, but
you have interjected
I'm so sorry.
I'm so
sorry.
You are interjecting.
I'm so sorry about that. But they also used the same address as Carrie Lee Summers when it was being incorporated in, I think, Oklahoma or so. So all these issues are coming up. These are documents.
So, Bella, all these documents that Okujeto even so-called intercepted were documents that were presented to Parliament, true or false. He took it from Parliament. One, even if you are taking parliament documents out to go and do such a thing, it's just nice, or I think it's just right to seek the permission of the speaker. Because these are official government documents. You just don't get up and go and do things on your own. Once they've brought things to parliament, you've sworn an oath to parliament. And using their things to go and do your own work, I think it's just right for you to seek their approval. You don't just get up and do things. You've done it, it doesn't matter. Now you've come back. After coming back, you don't go to the people who you've gone to investigate and ask them questions. But you come and throw it on social media. Expose 1, expose 2, expose 3, and now expose 4. Without any rebuttal from them or response from them. I don't think this is right. Let's be straight away and let's be realistic about that. Then you come and tell me that, oh, it's not in your standing orders. As if Parliament sent you there. So where did the standing orders come in? When Parliament has not sent you on any mission. And if they are sending, they wouldn't send you alone. So why do you paint it as if Parliament sent you, so it's not in the standing orders for you to do that?
But he's a ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Should he not be interested in some of these
cathedral.
Issues as well?
He's not a ranking member of a cathedral. The cathedral is built in Ghana. So whatever you are doing...
But incorporated in the US.
Yes, but whatever you are doing, official document of Parliament, and you are going to use it outside, as a parliamentarian, I believe that you need to do the right thing by seeking approval. Now, Eduji talked about my fighting on corruption and everything. I still stand totally about fight of corruption in Ghana. But I never took any document and said that, listen, ex-President Mahama has done A, B, C, D, and that is why he is corrupt. So these are the documents. And not go back to them or to whoever it is to seek information or clarification for them. So you should note it, that you can't put my case that I have said we should fight corruption and everyone should rise, that you can go and do anything you like and not even get response or information from anybody. It is not right. It's not done anywhere. On the report of Frimpong Boateng and what he talked about, and Frimpong Boateng has written and says John and this, the same Frimpong Boateng also, Doc or Prof, talked about the president having his backyard being taken over by Galamsey. But in Ghana, especially in such a situation where everybody in Chebi knows the president's house and people are doing Galamsey, we never saw any pictures to that effect. We never saw anything that shows that, or anybody. There are NDC people there. You think NDC people will sit down and see that the president's backyard, they are doing Galamsey there, and they will not take picture and even said Eduji that. Eduji put it on social media that
but that's a security zone.
Oh, the house
but
is a security zone.
But that's a security zone.
The thing wasn't that in the house. He said it was around the backyard of his
backyard.
House. Yes.
So it wasn't in his house. So why did they bus journalists into the president's
into the house
garden to go and find out?
No, they went around the house and everything. They took them around the house. It's not only in the house. So they should show where there is. And what I'm saying is that in this modern world, when social media does everything, if there is any iota of truth in that, and there is even a small gap between the house and the wall, that he said the wall got broken, and that there was Galamsey there, people around that vicinity will take pictures and send. So this whole report, and I'm happy, very happy, that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has taken it up. And I believe in him. I've known Ejabian since he was in Lagos. I know how he operates. He will not listen to anybody but do everything that is truthful, because he has a name to protect. And I know he's going to do a thorough job on this. I want the truth in all this. Because all these stories, in and out, is not good for this country. And it's not going to help build. And that is where now he even goes to taint that a whole doctor who has worked hard, has his reputation at stake, he left his job, he sacrificed himself for Ghana. You come and sit here and tell me that it's the president who wants to bring him in. When Atta Mills came as president, was Rawlings able to control him?
When you had campaigned.
When Atta Mills came, we campaigned, yes.
Gabi called him a poodle. You remember?
When you were talking, I was quiet.
No, I just wanted
I wrote it down.
Okay, me too, I'm writing it down.
Please,
I just wanted this.
When we campaigned on the back that Atta Mills would be controlled by Jerry John Rawlings, and Atta Mills came, was Jerry John Rawlings able to control Atta Mills? Never. So this area of you saying that Nanado wants to bring Dr. Baumia in because he wants to control things. Everybody is his own man.
Okay.
And when you've taken over the seat and the reins of government, you have a reputation to protect. Nobody is going to protect anybody in this country.
What is the president doing to protect his reputation?
I believe, you see, this whole cathedral thing, the Board of Trustees have stated categorically that they've they've called for an independent investigations into it. True or false? So at least let's give them that respect. These are noble men of God. They have come out to say that everything has halted. We are going to do an investigation into it and we'll come out with our findings. Because all this hula baloo and all this is supposed to delay the whole project by these opposition people. All this hula baloo about it.
It's supposed to delay the project?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the hula baloo about all this. I'm coming. Bella, let me land. You see, you keep on interjecting.
Alfred,
you don't
330. I'm sorry, but some of the statements you make, I need to come in.
No,
because if we've sunk 339 million Ghana cedis and all we get is a hole, all we get is a dug hole.
The most expensive hole.
You don't think that Ghanaians should ask questions?
Bella, so you don't want me to flow.
No, I'm just making my point that if we've sunk that much money into the hole,
you can also rise more. And then
you don't think that Ghanaians have a right to be asking these questions?
They have every right, and they've asked, and the Cathedral people have said that they've put this on hold, and we are doing an investigation into it. Where have they gone wrong? That is why they are trustees. Unless you want to tell me that we don't respect the trustees.
This is the whole,
yes,
Alfred.
I've seen the whole, and
339 million.
Trustees have stated categorically that they are putting an investigation into every allegation that has come out. So when you keep on bringing more allegations, you expect them never to continue with the project. And that's why I'm saying that their modus operandi is to make sure that this project will not happen.
But Daki Ward-Mills, of course, with great respect, did come out to say that even for them who were on the board, they didn't have a say.
The procurement
they didn't have a say.
processes.
Every suggestion he made,
Listen,
he said that nobody
can?
really, worked on his suggestions. So it looked as if there were hands up above that were making the decisions for them.
So he never said that the president was doing the procurement?
No, but he did say that there were higher people who were making that decision.
People,
now, if you look, at the expose, if you look at the expose from Honorable Samuel Blakwa, there are 3 people whose names have been mentioned, and they are the ones who have made the governors of the National Cathedral that's been incorporated in the United States. Exactly. Governors. So at one point, there's one who's even referred to as the president, of the incorporation as well.
Who elected these governors? Is it the president or the trustees?
You need to explain to us, because the trustees,
and that is why I say that
the
trustees are the people who are in charge. So whatever is the trustees who should respond. And that was why I felt that the most sensible thing to do was for Okujeto to send it to the trustees. The
Secretariat responded. And even the issue about clergymen, they said that they will respond
to social media because they don't want it to sit down for it to sink, for people to believe what he's saying. That's why they responded. But you are now bringing more things out.
But what he said, is it not true then? Because if the Secretariat has come out to say that, yes, we have intentions of actually incorporating it here and we may include some of the clergymen, does that not speak to truth then about what he is saying? That, in fact, they did not even incorporate the clergymen in any of the documents that they filed for in the U.S.?
And that is why I kept on saying, and I keep on saying that all these things that you stated, assuming it's even true, the most sensible thing is to send it to the Secretariat for them to write to us officially and tell us that A, B, C, D that you are saying is true. This is not true. This is what we are doing. This is where we've gotten to. So some of these things, you clear the air. But when you come out and you want to play social media gymnastics with Bishop Cathedral, this is what will happen.
Is the president happy with all this?
We are all not happy. I'm not happy. The president is not happy. Everybody's not happy.
Why is he not
Because
talking?
It's not right. So everything, the president should not come and talk about everything.
This is National Cathedral. His own promise he made to God.
Let the system work.
If there are misconceptions about this, he should be the first one to speak on this.
President has always stated that he believes in the system and he needs the system to work.
Okay.
So the president definitely, maybe quietly he would get some people to do some investigations for him. It's not everything. That's why I keep on saying, even with Frimpong Budgets, when you brought up the Gabi issue and things, the president will not come and tell you that, yes, I called Gabi and I spoke to Gabi that, listen, don't do this. But the president could have spoken to him quietly. The president could have spoken to all those he's talking about. Frimpong Budgets never told us that, yes, Gabi called him back to say that he insists that go and do this. He never told us. So definitely the president would have spoken to him. If the person has spoken to you as a lawyer, which ADG can call me if there's a problem, and I'm sitting here working at TV3, and he feels there's a problem, he can call me that, Alfred, this and this and this is what I've done. This and this is what I've heard. What are you doing about it for me? Period. I don't think there's anything wrong with what Gabi did as a lawyer for the people.
Okay.
You can decide to extend your distance to him that, okay, let me reverse it or let me not. You have reported it to his the president. The president could have called him The president will not come out public and say that Gabi, I've called you. The cameras to come and say.
No, but he doesn't have to come to the public. It was the professor who made that complaint to the president. Did he get back to the professor? Obviously not. Which is why he said.
And I don't think Gabi called the phone and picked the phone and called him again. He didn't do that.
No,
The
what I'm
professor
saying
has never
is
stated that
the professor
Gabi
went to the
called him.
president and complained
Yes.
about Gabi's actions.
Yes.
Clearly, the president didn't get back to him, which is why he included that in his report, that I asked the president to speak to Gabi on this matter and take action.
And the president
Nothing
told him
came
that
out of
I will
it.
speak to him. He's spoken to him. He doesn't need to
How
go
would
back
the
to him.
professor know
No,
that?
he doesn't need to go back to him. I've spoken to Gabi. This and this is what he said. I mean, come on. He has plenty things to do. He has a nation to run.
This was the chairman of the interministerial committee
Yes.
fighting against
Yes.
Galamsey.
And you told me that
if the president is taking action and cracking the whip
I can call
on
Gabi,
people who
I can
may.
call Gabi as the president and tell him that, listen, I don't expect you to call Frimpong Barton and ask him for certain things. I expect you to go through the channel. That ends it.
So you won't
And you
inform
expect him
the
to go
chairman
back. He
just
should
to
go
let
back
him
and
know
tell
that
him.
he's also not.
He doesn't
shouldn't
need to do that.
Okay, let's talk about Dr. Baumia and the issues that have come up with him as well.
Bella, just 30
Okay.
seconds of it.
If you talk, I'll talk.
When I say that Mr. Akufo-Addo wants to install Baumia, you say it's unfair.
That's
Listen,
an unfair statement.
please.
You shouldn't say that.
It's so fair.
It's not.
If
Don't
you
do
look
that.
at the NPP politics, you're quite old. Look, if you recall, in 2004, one of the campaign adverts the NPP did was a video where you see someone knocking. There were gentlemen in the room. When they opened, they saw a man in military
boots.
and then Wellington boots and
Wellington
ran
or
away.
military boots?
Military boot, thank you. And then they ran away. Do you know what they were sending to the electorate?
What were they sending?
They were telling the electorate that, look, a vote for Mills was a vote for who? Jerry Rawlings.
And when Mills came, he showed us that
Please,
clearly.
please.
When Mills
So
came, he
I will
showed
not
us
take a
clearly.
lesson.
No.
Alfred,
I
write
won't take a
down.
lesson from
Alfred,
you.
write down your
Write it
point.
down. This one is
Write
a
down your
George
point.
thing.
Write
This
down
one-
your point.
This one is a 30
Please
seconds George
allow
George.
him.
You
Allow
have to
him.
we have
respect.
Allow
short
him.
Oh,
memories.
you give me the chance to
No,
respond.
No,
even
please.
more
We'll have to
important.
move
This is a
on.
George
We're still
George
talking
thing.
about Dr. Baumia
No,
now.
this is a
30
George
seconds.
George
So
thing.
maybe I can dovetail. Look, Reverend Kusi, he is aware, and I'm aware,
That
Reverend Kusi is the spiritual advisor to Dr. Baumia.
Dr. Baumia can have.
How can
serious
Dr.
spiritual
Baumia
advisors.
tomorrow have the courage to investigate the wrongdoings of Kusi?
Why can't he?
He can't. That is a spiritual advisor on Christian affairs.
Didn't President Mills
Are you
have the
not
courage?
aware?
Didn't
Alfred,
President Mills
Please,
have
so
the
that
courage
is
to
that is on it.
investigate
But
Vice
we
President
can
Mahama?
dovetail into. You see, most of the things that he said, he's just trying to defend the corruption within the building
come
of the
on,
National
come on.
Cathedral.
Why is that
But we
an
have made
insult
it
to me?
clear. And look, today, let me salute the Trade Union Congress. One of the most profound things that they have said is the use of the National Cathedral for a hospital project. We salute them for that suggestion. And I think it will be a better use of public funds than pumping 399 million.
339.
39 million Ghana cedis into building the world's most expensive hole. We don't need it.
You don't need it. Okay,
At all.
but there are concerns about Dr. Baumia and the changes he could bring to the economy and job creation. So the executive director of Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa, says that recent polls suggest that Ghanaian voters have lost trust in the ability of the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, to revive the crippling economy and create jobs to tackle the country's unemployment crisis. On April 27th of this year, Dr. Baumia talked about how some 2.1 million jobs had been created by the Akufo-Addo government. And then subsequently, he put out some data to back his statement about the jobs that have been created. But this same man wants to run for presidency, and now there's a poll that says that the voters don't even trust that he'll be able to create jobs and fix the economy. Alfred, isn't this of a concern? You don't want to speak?
Right,
on
I'm
this?
asking you, are starting with me again?
I mentioned your name.
Oh, but you've started twice with me. That's why.
Okay, then let's
you
say
see-
DG come
you
in.
see-
Let's say DG come
I
in.
want to respond
Bella.
to some of
Okay.
his this thing
Bella,
before.
we are dealing with a vice president who, whilst in opposition, said there's money in this country and that he has worked in the Bank of Ghana before. Now, with him as the chair of the economic management team, we have borrowed $11 billion of Eurobond alone in 6 years. If you add the 2.25 billion Franklin Templeton to it, what it means that within 6 years, we have done $13 billion in Eurobond receipt alone. Bella, this is a vice president, whilst in opposition, said that they are going to move the economy from taxation to production. What is their scorecard today? This government had introduced more taxes than all administration put together. In fact, if you look at how much money they have taken from you and I, our pockets, by way of tax revenue, in 6 years alone, it's about 300 billion Ghana cedis. Do you know that whilst in opposition, Dr. Bawumia used to say that the envelope of financial resources that has accrued to the Mills Mahama Emisata administration in 8 years was 248 billion. And he said, with that, an NPP government could build 1,000 factories and all of those things. Today, as we speak, tax revenue alone is over 300 billion, not 248 in terms of your total revenue. No, just tax revenue. Do you know last year alone, oil gave this administration over $1.2 billion. We are still with the IMF for how much? $3 billion. So, if you look at the scorecard of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, clearly, the poll reflects public sentiment about him. It speaks to one or two things. One, he does not have credibility, and that is key for leadership. People cannot trust his words anymore. When was the last time you bought Wachi with Bawumia's drones? Or, I thought he said you can just be at home and buy Wachi.
He didn't say with drones.
Oh, okay.
He didn't say with drones.
He said with what? Oh, what did he say?
I'm disappointed as a lawyer you are doing this.
What did he say?
You are talking about serious national
Yes, that is exactly. What did Bawumia say we can buy Wachi with? I mean, he's reduced the presidency to a very comical display. And today, the scorecard really shows that his management of the economy is what has brought all of us here. But you see, in politics, you model people's character. The NPP sold Bawumia to us as the economic messiah, the one with the Midas touch, that if your economy is down and he touches the economy grows.
I'll let you speak.
Grows so, among other things. What is his scorecard? Today, we are dealing with inflation that went as far as 57% and came to what? Today, Bawumia used to tell us that Bank of Ghana should do zero financing. Zero financing. Consistently in 4 years. Consistently. Bank of Ghana had been doing above 10 billion Ghana cedi advances to government of Ghana. Do you know that last year alone, Bank of Ghana gave the Akufo-Addo administration in excess of 50 billion Ghana cedis. That 50 billion translates to over $3 billion. Bloomberg reported 3.5 billion. How much are we looking for from the IMF? 3 billion. So Bank of Ghana, even last year alone, gave the Akufo-Addo administration in excess of 3 billion. What has happened to the economy? Okay, nothing. Today, as we speak, Bloomberg reports that our total import cover, and it's a report confirmed by the IMF and the World Bank, that our total import cover is about 3 weeks. How did we get here? So when ordinary people who are beneficiaries of Dr. Bawumia's incompetent management of the economy, how come that today Bawumia cannot answer the 170 questions he asked the late Vice President Emisata? How come that today Bawumia is running away from economic conversation? And today, all that he does is to talk about what? Digitalization. Okay. What about digitalization?
Please learn from me so that Alfred can continue.
Yes, the record will show that he has nothing useful to do as far as this economy is concerned.
Thank you.
Alfred, do you agree?
And that is what the polls had confirmed.
So you won't finish?
No, I'm just telling you what the polls have confirmed.
Thank you very much. Bella, you see, the nightmare of NDC is the name Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. The moment they hear it, they are scared.
Yes, it's a nightmare.
They want everything about him to be bad, that nobody would trust him. That is why when they started, in fact, when he started the reigns of this government, the first thing, when they switch on or they go to any station, then they will start Baolaya, because they wanted to spoil his name even before he started working.
So
that was all they
just
were.
The president's name.
No, I'm coming. Oh, it's their main thing is not the president, though. Their main thing is the doctor. They know what he can do. They know his performance. He was sitting here asking about Wache. It was about the interoperability that Dr. Bawumia was able to do. That when you go to a Wache salary, you can use your phone to pay for the Momo straight away. Even if you're on a Vodafone and the Wache salary is on the MTN. That is what he's talking about. It was the same Wache salary. That's Master, when you're talking, I was quiet.
You
write it down.
You interjected small. Go ahead.
Now he's scared. You see, I tell you, when we talk about Dr. Bawumia, then they become scared.
Of the economy.
You are making
I'm scared of how you are destroying the economy. That's the nightmare. How you are destroying the economy.
It was the QR code he was talking about.
No, it's not the QR. The QR code is
what he said.
No, the QR code is for the house numbering and everything.
Oh, which one?
Oh, please.
The man even said we can buy what you
want. Say you can buy it and pay for trotro with universal QR code.
Can you imagine this?
And all these are under interoperability.
But that's what I just said, and you're saying that's for.
No, I'm talking about ABG, the house investment.
Carry on.
So you see, when they mention his name, they become scared. That is why he will sit here and say that Dr. Bawumia cannot investigate anybody when he comes into office. We're in this country when President Atamus investigated his own vice president, and the white paper was written on the jet issues. The white paper that never came out.
You are such a liar.
Lawyer, counsel, please let him.
You have to interject in everything. Write it down.
I know you
write it down. Write it down.
Please let him.
Where is the so-called white paper? Do you know what the white paper is?
That got missing.
Look at this.
The moment President Atamus died. So you didn't know in this country that.
Lawyer, please let him land.
You didn't know that we had a time when someone had to go and sign at Air Force Base and sign at acting president, and he was investigated. We didn't hear about that one. Please, where's the report? You're asking me. They will bring the white paper out soon. Very soon we'll publish the white paper. Because those papers can never get misplaced
Bella,
from
is it not curious? MPP has been in power for
lawyer, please.
They've not even invited Muhammad
to
even one
investigation panel. Anything about doctor, you people get frightened.
No.
Why are you frightened?
I have only 2 minutes to go.
Television, you're lying.
I have only 2 minutes to go, lawyer, please.
When you look at the unemployment rate since 2013, when Muhammad took over to date, in 2013, unemployment was 6.2%. In 2014, unemployment was 6.52%. 2015, unemployment figures were 7%. That's the highest so far from 2013 to 2022. In 2016, it dropped to 5.6%. Now, when we took over, the unemployment went down to 4.22%. You check in 2018, it went to 4.28%. 2019, 4.32%. Then all these things started, international, issues started happening. We went to 4.65%. Even in our worst performance in 2022, 5.2%, is far better than the best performance of 2016 of 5.6% under NDC. And such a person who has done extremely well, you come and sit here and say that your Mahama is better than him, and that they should look at voting next for Muhammad to come back into power for 4 years.
Did you see the number of people who were unemployed in the last quarter of 2022? Over 1 million.
Yes, but
but that's a concern, shouldn't it be? Especially when
population.
You also campaign on the back of jobs, creating jobs.
Bella, you are looking at figures. Once your population is growing, definitely they will look at all these statistics. These figures they don't conjure. Statistical Service brought it out. Now, when you check the total number as against the unemployment rate, it's 5.2%. It's far better than the 5.6 best or worst figure, or what do you call it? Is it the best figure of NDC?
Okay.
So it tells you straight away that they don't have anything to offer. It tells you straight away that doctor is someone, and listen, he's the first vice president. You realize that he's always on his toes working. He doesn't sit down and wait for you to come and insult him and conjure things about him before you set up the work. He started with interoperability. He went on the digitalization. He went on the house naming spree. He went on the so many things.
So you choose him over Alan Tremanti and Kennedy Japan?
I will choose him 100% plus over anybody that you bring to me.
I see.
I will choose him. And I will not look at even Mahama as the next option.
Okay, all right.
Alan, Kennedy Japan, whoever you mentioned, they are far ahead of Mahama.
The employment minister,
for 4 years,
he gave different numbers.
They cannot do anything. You sit here and you are always
condemning
Dr. Bawumia. Meanwhile, you are afraid of him. Meanwhile, you are afraid of him. The employment minister said they created 5 million jobs.
This one was not created by the employment minister.
They created 2.4 million.
This was created by the Statistical Service.
Okay, so who should we believe?
You are dishonest.
Statistical Service, independent body, has
dishonest.
Okay, all right.
You said this.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining
what
us
again
this
do you want?
morning. Alfred Thompson is a member of the NPP Communications team, the former Deputy Managing Director for the National Investment Bank, and lawyer.
Wale, he will be coming out very soon
To announce his bid.
He's
Okay.
already met the MPs.
When is he speaking about the Galamsey report? When is he speaking about
He hasn't said anything about E-levy.
Why should he talk
When
about
is he
Galamsey report?
speaking about the economy?
Okay, well, we have to go. And lawyer Godwin
you
Edudzi
can take your cameras
Tamaklo
to
is
him
a member of
and
the
interview him.
NDC's
And you
legal
run away.
team.
You really talk
We
about
have the
the
Artist of the Year joining us. Stay here. We have something amazing coming up with Blacko right here on TV3 Newday. We'll be right back.